Kakadosh,
we can continue now until you finish the short one.
Amud Aleph. Tzadi Tet Amud Aleph says like this. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, Heriot Tachtonot. We're talking about the Yeriot Tachtonot, which are the lower curtains. Shel Tchel v'Shel Gamav v'Shel Tolat Shani, where there were the three types of tzemer, of wools, whether it was of the turquoise, right, or the different colors. How do you translate each one? The turquoise, the
blue wool, of purple wool, of scarlet wool.
Scarlet, blue, and purple. Okay. I thought they always translated as turquoise, but okay. V'shel shesh, and of shesh is pishtan, it's of linen. V'elyonot was made out of maasei zim, the hairs of the goats. Okay? So it says, Ugdula chokhmah shenemra b'elyonot, shenemra b'tachtonot. The upper ones, which were much harder to fashion out, do than the bottom ones. Gilu b'tachtonot, as it's written by the bottom ones, v'chol isha chokhmah le'biyadei tavu. That every single woman, that with her wisdom, she did it. But there was nasa liban otan bechokma, which is had to be balat chokma yitera, even the extra wisdom. That means the ones on the top had much more of the work. The Tanya Mishum of Nehemiah, shatuf ba'izim, the se'ar izim was nishtaf al gabe izim, which means it was actually washed on the izim itself. The tavuya min izim. They were actually weaving it on the goats, meaning they washed it and they weaved it on the goats itself. So that was what I'm saying. It's incredible chokhmah. You're doing it on the animal. It's not that you detach it and now you start doing everything. You're doing it on the animal. Fine. 2 dots. Shtei gezus tzarot. So it says like this. Amar Rav Mishum Rav Chia. We're talking about Rav in the name of Chia. Agalot. This is, remember, this is the 2 gezus tzarot. Gezus tzarot was like a porch in the middle of the Reshut Rabim. Reshut Rabim. And then this is the Aleph. What is the Aleph? I'm not sure what it is. But that's Tosafot. Okay, so it says like this. It says, "Shtei gezus tarot, Amar Rav Mishum Rav Chia, agalot tachtehenu b'nehem v'tzidei reshut rabim." We already learned that the agalot, underneath them, on the sides of them, and between them is considered reshut rabim. So Amar Abaye says, "Ben agala la'agala," between one agala and another agala, kimlo orech agala was another agala. Kama orech agala, 5 amot. So you had 5 amot, one agala. 5 amot space between this agala and the next agala, and then the other 5 amot of the agala. So you had 5, 5, 5, 15 amot. Okay, you had 5, 10, 15. The 5 in the middle was a space in between. So ask the Gemara Lamali, why do I need the 5 in the middle? So it says, Be'arbal palgesagi, 4.5 would have already been enough. Right? Even if you're going to have 5 amot, right, it says you cannot have more than 3 shurot of the krashim. So answers the Gemara, we don't want them to start pressing against each other. Okay, let's see if we have pictures also. Well, this is the picture that's just saying it about the 5, 5, and 5. 5, 5, and 5 in between. So he's saying the reason why is because we didn't want them to be so pressed in between each other. Okay. So says the Gemara, Amar Rava says, Sideha agala kimlo rochav agala. The sides of the agala was like the length of the agala. So how much is that? 2.5 amot. So that's also the rochav of the agala. Again, here. The rochav of the agala. You have the picture over there. Right? 2.5 amot. Okay? So says the Gemara, right? Lamali, why do you need that? Be'amto palgasagi, it would already been enough 1.5. Right? So he answers the Gemara, again, we don't want them to be so in order that they shouldn't start moving. Because since they're very, very long, right? So what's going to happen is, and they're coming out on both sides, if it wasn't going to be a thickness which was enough, so then what would happen is it's going to become very, very heavy and they would fall. So we purposely wanted that there should be enough space in the middle so it's not going to fall. Okay, Ela de Kaimalam, but rather we come and we say, Shederech Reshut Rabim 16 aman. Normally a Reshut Rabim is 16 amot by 16 amot squared. Anan de Gamnila Mishkan, right? If we learn it from the Mishkan 15. It comes out the Mishkan was 15. Because he had 5 for one agala, 5 in between, and 5 in another agala. That's 15. It's not 16. And so the Gemara, Mata Yetera Havai, Davakai Ben Levi, he says, no, there was an extra ma. Why? because the Ben Levi was standing in that extra ma, was he used to come and he used to put when they were coming and they were moving, Havanakilu used to hold on to it, which means that they used to travel with it. If right now one of these beams would start moving, the Levi that's an extra ma that was there, he would come and he would put it back together. It was the thickness of a human being from here to here is around the ma. So therefore, he says that was the extra ma. So that's why when we learn that it's 16 amot, the Reshut Rabim, and we learn it from the Mishkan, we learn it from these zagalot. We learn it from here. It says the Mishnah, Chulyat bor, the afar, the earth, which is underneath the bor, which is inside of a pit, and they come and they take it out, the sela, or a stone, which is in the Reshut Rabim, if it's going to be above 10 tfachim, right, v'rochban arba, and the width is going to be 4 tfachim, hanotel mehen, v'anoten al gaban, you're going to take from it into the Reshut Rabim, or you're going to put in onto it, you're going to be chayav. Right? Why? Because of otzav achnasa, which means because since it's its own reshut, it's its own possession, domain, you're going to be chayav. But if the width or length is less, if it's going to be less than 10 tfachim tall, 80 centimeters, or less than 4 tfachim width, which is 32 centimeters, it's going to be patur. Because then it's going to be considered reshut hayachi, the private domain. Says the Gemara, lama li limitni, why do we have to learn chulyat bor v'asela? Right, whether we're talking about the afar, which is inside of the board or the pit, or the cellar or the stone. Right, leave me a bor v'asela. Just teach me the bor v'asela, the pit and the stone. What is chulyat? Who's talking about the afar chafira, the dirt? Just tell me about the pit and about the stone. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, it helps according to Rabbi Yochanan. Because the Dam Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan, bor chulyata mitzarfin lasara. The bor, the height of the bor, the chulya, the actual mount, also is going to be mitzaref to make an asarat tfachim tall, meaning that you were going to combine also the actual dirt of the earth. Tanya Miyachi, we also learned it right. If the height is going to be 10 tfachim and the width is going to be 4 tfachim, you're not allowed to put water in it in Shabbat. Why? Because inside of it still is going to be Reshut Yachid. Right? Because when you're going to take out the water, you're doing Hotza'ah. So it's not a Reshut Rabim yet, it's a Reshut Yachid. Unless they mean a mechitza 10 tfachim, right? You're not allowed to drink from it on Shabbat, right? He says unless you put your head and the majority of your body inside of it, and then you drank. However, though the pit and the chulya, which is basically the height of the pit, is also going to be tall, 10 tfachim. So by Mirava, so Mordechai comes and he asks from Rava, Amud b'reshut rabim. When you have a pillar in the reshut rabim, gavo 10 v'rachav arba, which is going to be 10 tvachim high and 4 tvachim width. V'zarak, and you threw something, v'nachal gabav, and it landed exactly on a pillar. Mao, what do we say? Mi amnina, do we say harei akira b'isur v'anacha b'isur? That you did akira v'anacha, which means you did a prohibition, whether it wasn't when you picked it up and then you threw it and when it landed. Well, Dilma, do I say, since it came from a Mekom Ptur, right? That means it came to a Reshut Yachid because this pillar in the Reshut Rabim is considered a private domain. But since it has 10 tfachim tall, 4 tfachim wide, it's a private domain. Well, Dilma, Kevin the Mekom Ptur Kat, no, you're not going to be chayav. So Amalei, he answered him, it's a Mishnah, right? So what happened? Ata Sheli Rav Yosef, they came in the house of Yosef, Amalei, and he told them, Matritini. Ata Sheli Lebai, Amalei, Matritini, it's our Mishnah. Amalei, who he told them, Hulchu beruka dahadadi tapitu. Says what? You're all spitting with the same rock? You're all spitting with the same thing? You're all answering the same thing, but it doesn't make sense. Amrule, they told them, Ve'at lo tisvera. What, you don't think that it's our Mishnah? Atram, we learned to the Mishnah. Hanotel men ve'anoten al gaban chayav. If you took from it, or you put on top of it, you're going to be chayav because of otzav achnasa. So you see that our Mishnah is speaking about that you're taking it from the Reshut Rabim to the sela, to the stone, or to the pit. So it's teaching us that even though it comes out that it's coming to a mekom chiyuv, right? But again, it's coming through the avir, which is above the 10 tfachim, right? Still, it's going to be, that's what he said, you're chayav. So Amar Lehu, he says, Dima matzitim machat. Says maybe our Mishnah is talking about a machat. So since the machat is a needle, it's so small, that's why you could get there without actually coming to the Mekom Ptur. it's such a small needle that it's getting there exactly. So that's why it's not a makom tur. So the answer is the Gemara, you're right. It's impossible that the machat is not going to be a little bit or above the 10 tefachim. And even if a needle is so small, if the pillar was already 10 tefachim, the needle is already on top. And therefore it's not within it. So therefore you're for sure going to be chayav. Right? So the Gemara says, Di'it lemorasha, right? Why? Either because we're talking about it has a little tiny sticking thing out. Here, just to go back. Bur v'chulyato mitzalfin la'asara. So this is the bor, the pit, and then the earth which is above it. So the pit plus this becomes 10 tfachim. The same thing with here, right? 10 is everything. This is the other picture explaining it. Okay, now we said that you're not allowed to put the water, here. Bor b'reshut rabim amukah asara v'rochva daled. If they made mechitzot, then it's going to be permitted. If they made mechitzot here on the side of 10 tfachim. Then we said if a person wanted to drink, he would have to put his head and the majority of his body inside to drink. Okay? Now it says over here that if you put through from here the Reshut Rabim to Mekom Ptur, right? This is the Avid of the Reshut Yachid. So you should be Patur. So we said you had Di Lemorasha, you have like a little thing sticking out, which is just below. Or it says Deramya Becharitza, it's got a little hole. So either something is sticking out and the needle got on top of it, or it's got a hole and that's where the needle went in. So you're going to be patur in that area. Okay? Di'it la morasha or inami derami b'charitza. Okay? Amar Rav Miyasha. So says Rav Miyasha. By Rav Yochanan comes and he asks the following question. Kotel b'reshut rabim. When you have a wall in the reshut rabim gavoa asra ve'eno rechav arba, it's 10 tfachim high, but it's not 4 tfachim width. Umukaf the Carmelit, and it's going around the Carmelit. Remember, a Carmelit is not a private domain, but it's not a public domain. You made it into Reshut Yachid, and you threw an object in the Reshut Rabim, and it fell on top of this wall. What's halacha? Do we say, but since it's not 4 tfachim wide, or Dimar, do we say, since you made it into Reshut Yachid, it's like Kiman de Male Maya. It's already Male Damya. It's like it's already filled. And therefore, it's going to be considered a Reshut Yachid. So Amar Ula says, Kavachomen. I'm going to make a Kavachomen. La'acherim oseh mechitza. That small kol sheken. If right now, this makom, this place, which is mukaf, surrounded, it helps the wall to become a Reshut Yachid. So it shouldn't help itself to be considered the Reshut Yachid. Meaning, even though it doesn't have the 4 tfachim, it should still be considered Reshut Yachid. So it was also stated, in such a case. Amar Ochia Barashi Marav says of Chiv Rishon Rav Cher B'Yisrael Ben Yochanan says of Yitzchak Ben Yochanan. Kotel Rabim Gvo Asara ve'eno Lechav Arba. You have a wall in the Reshut Rabim, 10 tefachim, but the width is not 4 tefachim. Okay, so he says in such a case umukaf lekarmelit, and it's surrounded by a karmelit. V'asao Reshut Yachid, and you make it into Reshut Yachid. Hazorek v'nachal gabav. If you threw something on it and landed on top of it, you're going to be chayav. La'acherim oseh mechitza la'atzmo lo kol sheken. If it can make for other things a mechitza, it's not going to make a mechitza for it itself, that it's considered its own domain. So the Gemara is going to bring another safek then. By Rabbi Yochanan comes and he asks the following question. Bor tisha. What happens if the bor was 9 tfachim? You took it out 1 tefach and you put it on the top. What's halacha? Do we say that when you took out the extra tefach, because you did this on Shabbat itself, so do we say when you took it out and it came at the same time, and therefore, right, that means you made a mechitza and you made it into a Reshut Yachid that comes together, so therefore you should be chayav, or mechayev, or maybe you're not going to be chayav, because since at the time when you took it out, it was not a Reshut Yachid, right, so therefore it was all Reshut Rabim, it was all the same domain. If you're going to tell me, Kevin Dulavi mechitza saramei at the beginning, it wasn't 10 tefachim tall, lo michayev, it's not going to become chayav. Bor asara v'natan letocha chulya. If you have a bor which is going to be 10 tefachim, and you put inside of it a chulya, which is basically a chulya, which is basically going to be, how do you call it? V'natan letocha chulya. You put inside of it this dirt, umiyata, and you made it smaller. Ma what's halacha? Hanachat chefetz, when you put it inside of it, v'siluk mechitza, and you took away the mechitza, it came at the same time, so you should be chayav. או לא מחייב. So again, here you have it. This is the board which is 9, and then you took out another one and you put it on the top to make 10, right? Or the other way around. Right? So in both cases where you do it, does it come at the same time or not? So says the Gemara, או לא מחייב. So says the Gemara, tif shole midideh. So ask the Gemara, why don't we just actually try to answer it from the same Gemara, right? From the same Mishnah. The Tanakh, we learned in the Mishnah, hazurek 4 amot bekotel. If you threw 4 amot, right, on top of a wall, lemala me'aseret tfachim, above 10 tfachim, kizurek ba'avir, it's like you're throwing it in the air, right? And therefore, it's going to be patur. But remember, in the Reshut Rabim, above 10 tfachim is makom patur. Lemata me'aserav, it's going to be below 10 tfachim. Kizurek ba'aretz, it's like you threw it on the ground. Bazurek ba'aretz 4 amot. If you threw it on the ground for 4 amot, you're going to be chayav. But we asked, v'alo nach, it never landed. So Rabbi Yochanan says, no, b'dvila shmena shanim. We're talking about something which is like a gush of te'anim, of figs, which were all mushed together. So therefore it says, so when it hits the wall, it gets stuck to the wall. And it doesn't actually come down within the daled amot. So it never actually goes down. So it says the Gemara, v'amai b'wai, hakamet mar ba'amot. If it's going to be mimayet ba'amot then, right? So because if you said that you threw it and then it got stuck to the wall, if you're 4 amot, now this is stuck to the wall, there's less than 4 amot now. So says Gemara, hatam lo mevatele, v'hacham mevatele. He says, no. When you're throwing the dvila to the wall, you're not mevatel the dvila in its place, which means you don't want to leave it there. You're going to take it there from there. So therefore, he says, therefore it's going to be considered, right, chayav. But here, you are mevatel the place. You're mevatel the chulya, to the karka. You're mevatel to the bottom. Okay? So by Rava comes and he asks the following question. Zarak daf v'nachal gabei yetidot. Imagine you take a piece of wood and you throw it on top of pegs and it becomes like a shelf. Okay? Let's see if we have any picture. Yeah, you threw it on top, right? Like a piece of wood on top. You see, you threw the piece of wood on top. So it says in such a case, right? It says, Zarak daf v'nachal gabei yetidot ma what's halacha? Right? So it says the Gemara, what's the question exactly? Hanachat chefetz v'asiyah mechitza b'ad dikatu. When you put it there, and the making of the mechitza came at the same time. Because when you put it there, right, when you threw it there basically, but when it landed basically, it became a mechitza, right, because it made it into the Reshut HaYachid, but it came at the same time that you placed it there. So Hainu de Rabbi Yochanan, so that's the exact same question as Rabbi Yochanan. So it says the Gemara, 1 second, no. Kika mi ba'ilei l'Rava, when did the Rava have the safek? He goes, the zarak daf v'chefetz al gabav, when you threw a daf and something was already on top of it. Mai what's halacha? Kevin davada di katu, since it comes at the same time, kachanat chefetz v'asiyah mechitza damu. It's like placing the chefetz down and you're making a mechitza. Okay? Or dilma, therefore it's like making the Reshut HaYachid. Or dilma, or maybe, kevin de lo efshad, de lo midle purta v'ada naich. It's impossible that it couldn't be that the chefetz didn't pick itself up when you threw it. When you throw it together, it's impossible that it didn't pick itself up a little bit. So therefore, it was kasiyat mechitza, and then anachat chefetz tamu. We don't have an answer. We don't have an answer. Is it coming at the same time, or since it picked itself up a little bit when you threw it, so therefore it didn't come at the same time? We don't have an answer. So Amar Rava says, pshitali, it's obvious to me. Mayim al gebe mayim. If you have the upper waters in the bore, right, or in a kli, which are on top of bottom waters, hainu anachatan, that's actually placing it. Egoz al gabe mayim, right, when you have a walnut on top of water, lav hainu anachatan, it's not considered anachatan placing it down. And why? Because if something is considered on top of a liquid, it's not considered munach, and therefore it's not considered like it's laying there. So therefore, that's why he's saying, if you're going to take that gold from the water, you're not going to be chayav, because there was no akira of something that was placed there. Meaning a solid on top of a liquid is not considered placed there, and therefore you could take it off, and it's not considered that you did an akira. Okay, so Bezrat Hashem, we continue on Sunday.